All right, well, just tell me where that I got.
You needed to say it.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen, and ladies.
Morning, Martin.
Morning.
Morning. Are you? Okay. All right. Might be what I was called for. He's like, I'm coming.
Oh, morning, Mike.
Morning, Mike.
Good morning. How are you? Stephen, are you ready to start?
I'm ready.
Okay. 9:31. We have a first.
I told them I would do it for.
Okay.
They're all done early.
Thank you. All right, it's 9:32. We'll go ahead and call this workshop of the Tioga County Commissioners Court to order. And we want to acknowledge our architect and two members of the steering committee that are here and a guest. And Buck Hudson has not joined us yet, has he?
He's not coming. Well,
Did you call in?
he's supposed to.
No, he hasn't called me yet.
Okay. Commissioner Nash is on the line, and then Commissioner Sturt, Marshall, and myself are present in the courtroom. With that being said, I don't know who posted this. Stephen, did you call the meeting?
Yes, yeah. Turn it over to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Just January, I wanted to hear from our architect so we could get our background work done on the bids. And we'll take up our commissioner's court time going over the bids and any explanations they gave, any questions that we had, we would all hear it at the same time. And, a little easier in a workshop setting than it is in the court setting. I guess Mr. Leach, the bids that came in, the general bid, without the add-ons or whatever we call them, the alternates, is that the base bid, is that covering the required things and everything else is the optional things that we're doing?
You're correct.
Okay. And if you want to explain that, that would be fine with me. It's
Sure, I'll
probably
just-
easier for you to explain than me.
I'll just go through the alternates and that'll tell you what each alternate is. Maybe that'll be helpful. Alternate number one is to add a restroom in the room next to us here. So in the base bid, we're redoing that room, getting it back to where it can be used. The alternate number one allows us to put a handicap accessible restroom in that room.
And handicap?
It is, Martin. He did say it is handicapped.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everything in the courthouse that is new will have to be handicap accessible.
It'd be all the codes, right?
Yes, sir. Alternate number two is to add a restroom, a handicapped accessible restroom upstairs in the mechanical space next to the courtroom. There's a piece of mechanical equipment sitting there that's been dead for a while, so just putting in the handicapped accessible restroom there, mainly be used by the clerk, whose office is going to be next to this space. Alternate number three is to add a handicapped accessible restroom and a janitor's closet to the juror's room that is behind the courtroom upstairs. Alternate number 4 is to do some renovations to the existing janitor's closet that's in the main hallway on the first floor, so that they actually have a janitor's sink there, a mop sink, type sink. Alternate number 5 is to take the offices that are in the very back of the first, or I'm calling the first floor here.
Downstairs.
No, sir, in the back of this, the area opposite the judge's office. Those little offices back in that particular area. There was some texturing done on the ceilings in there. Historically, it's supposed to be a smooth texture. At this point, I would say this is not a requirement. I'd completely take that off the table. If we're concerned about money, I know that we are.
So that's 5?
That's number 5, yes, sir.
Is that a juvenile probation judge?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, Mike, if y'all look on this bid, it describes each alternate on the bids that I gave you.
Okay.
Flip the second page, it tells you everything.
Just doesn't mean where it's at, other than room.
Yeah, Dad.
It doesn't say juvenile probation, it just
Oh,
says room.
right,
You have to have the diagram.
That describes the word.
Yeah.
Alternate number 6 is to take these metal frame doors out of this main hallway and go back with the wood doors that are similar to what is on Ms. Skinner's office and it's on the clerk's office across the hallway from us. Alternate number 7, the old law library that's down the hall here. I'm sorry, the alternate number 7 is the work that we have to do in the room 104 here, the treasurer's office. Is that correct, Judge? That's right next, right down from this one that has the cedar siding on the inside of there, the treasurer's office, to undo the work that's been done in there and bring it back to a 1930s appearance. And alternate number 8 is to enclose the exposed electrical in the corner of the courtroom upstairs. All of that conduit that's in the corner there is to encase that into that area.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
A question, Judge.
Go ahead,
Can you
Mark.
hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'm a little confused with, he's listing the alternates. Initially, we had a base required, you about the alternates. However, he said that the treasurer's office was something that we had to do. So is that an alternate or part of the required?
No, sir, it's an alternate.
It's an alternate.
It's an alternate.
Well, it's something that doesn't have to be done.
Correct.
According to the historical commission.
Correct.
Thank you.
I believe that pretty much covers the base and the alternate bids. Pretty happy that our base bid came in under what we figured our budget would be, so.
Right. And can we use, on any of these alternates, can we do number 6 and only number 6, or do we
Yes,
have
sir.
to do it? We do break it down however we want to.
That's right.
All right.
That's right. The alternates can be broken down any way you want to. And then we could even further, if there was something in that alternate that you didn't want to do, we could ask the contractor to give us a price to break that component out too.
So on these alternates, do we have to get the okay through the historical commission to do the alternates? Or do you go through the whole process of that, or is that already standing?
No, sir, we already have letters of approval from the Texas Historical Commission to do any and all of the work that we've got. Also to, Commissioner, please remember that you all have elected to do the flooring, all of the flooring in the rooms that we're renovating, this being one of them. You're gonna do those things yourself. So you should keep that in the back of your mind, because that's another item that,
The floor's gonna be on us.
yes, sir.
Is anything else gonna be on us?
No, sir.
Were the original estimates that you had including the flooring or not including the flooring?
Did not.
Did not.
Well, the first one did include the flooring, but then we took it out.
Take it out.
So this base bid, any of these other alternates will be added to that price?
Yes, sir.
The base bid is the required stuff. that we do. And what is your fee per our contract on, how much do we have to add to these bids to cover the architect fee? It's a percentage, is that correct?
Yes, sir. It's a percentage, and I think it's 12%, I think.
12 or
It's
15,
either-
I was thinking 15. And how much percentage of contingency money do we need to have? To be, you're in this business, so I mean, I know we have to have some.
With this one, I think that we probably need to have at least 15%.
Minimum of 15.
Yes, sir.
So if we have the total bids on both of them, I didn't look at the total. What kind of, Jackie, you know, have any idea what kind of percentages we're gonna need to have? How much more money we're gonna have other than what's the bid? Added on to that?
Well, I can figure it real quick. For this 1.6 million, it's 247,500 if we do 15% for architect and 15% for contingency. The other one's what, 1.1?
Yeah.
And then it'd be 165,000 for each on the other one.
330,000 more than 1.1, a little bit, right? Do you think 15% on contingency is gonna cover it, or, I know that's the minimum, do you think?
I feel pretty good about that number. I mean, we've exposed a lot of areas where we know we've got rotten framing and those kind of things.
They had to cover it.
We've got a couple of windows, this one on the very front of the building that kind of added at the last, of the bidding process because it was falling apart,
Okay,
and it's open, so.
so it's covered in the bid, right?
Yes, And also, Commissioner, so that you're clear about the way our fees work, you're paying us our fees through bidding on the total amount that has been bid.
Okay.
All in the basement, all the alternates. Once you decide what you want to do, the last portion of our work, which is the construction administration.
Yes.
It will be based on what you say you want to write the contract for.
Okay. All right. Does your fee include the contingency money added in, or do we take care of that on
No,
our own?
sir, the contingency is all.
All on us,
Yes,
okay,
sir.
all right.
And we have to write a change order, it's got to be approved by the board.
Right, go to the court, we keep up with all of that.
Yes, sir.
So how much do you, just ballparking on putting flooring in there, another 200,000 or 300,000 in all of this, or not that much?
I don't think so, Commissioner, for the type of flooring that you've been using, that usually goes in for about $7 a square foot.
Okay,
So, and you've got a local person, and I think that person actually has some leftover from the last job, to use, so, I would encourage right now, though, to get that person looking at it, and I'll be happy to help them if they need
okay.
help.
Release, Louise, do you know of any way that we can come up with some more money without going back to the taxpayers on the bond? Is there any other governmental way to get money? I've asked this question to several people, and I can't find anything.
If you could get the PhD to give you back that $75,000 of, emergency funds that, you know, that they had given you initially,
Yeah,
we could get that back. And, you know, with that, you don't really have full control of this courthouse.
right,
The state does. So even, I know that there was an objection because you had to sort of give them the right of way of this site, but they've got the right of way of this
that guy
site.
anyway.
legally. But, you know, you could possibly get them to turn around if they haven't, given that $75,000 to someone else. But, you know, it goes,
Right.
that's a pretty good chunk of change right there.
Well, Jackie, the collection center money, the 806,000 that we have there, 320 is going to the tax office. What does that leave on?
How much is going to the tax office?
320.
That was the bid. I get 486,250. I just put this together so you can kind of see,
Yes.
what kind of funds we had. And then I did the backup where you can see what we have in investments, the breakdown. And then I showed the general fund 2021 budget. And then I showed the actual expenses for general fund for 2019 on the last page. Just I know something to study. Because those are the only ones, the only places that I know that you could get the money, get some of the money from. I mean, if y'all know something else, say so, but that's all I could come up with.
It looks like to me between the collection center leftover money, part that's not going to the tax office, and courthouse restoration, we have right now about 740,000 in there available. So if we did go with just the base bid at the low bid, and then included the contingency percentage and Mr. Levicius' fee, his percentage that we've agreed to, it comes out at 1.4 $1,430,000. You subtract that 740, we'll see how much we're on, that's without the flooring. So we're short $689,000 ballpark, and $689,616. $700,000 is probably what we need to be available. We still have to do the flooring. That's not including the flooring. So in your studying, Jackie, of these stuff that's available to us,
The only other, I mean, I don't see that general funds will contribute a whole lot.
yeah. I mean,
When
we got
you look at what the budget is, the only other place you could get it, to get the shortfall is that emergency disaster relief fund.
the 1.4 million.
And if we took,
It started when it's out of a disaster.
Yeah.
and then that would leave $724,101.14 in the emergency disaster relief fund.
Okay.
But that's the only place I know that you could safely, after you expend what's in the collection center
Yes.
and the courthouse restoration, that's the only other place that we have extra money.
Financially, dropping that down to that low, we just be kind of taking a chance, wouldn't we?
Well, I mean, that's basically our rainy day fund.
Right, rainy day fund.
I sure think our taxpayers need to know that it's going to end up being over $2 million that we're spending on this ragged in the courthouse. Could follow that, ready to take. Just makes me sick.
Well, when you asked for whether, you could find the money, and then I know that we've got a lot to do. I did find out that each state agency has there's an administrative judge department that if there's something mandated by the state and the county doesn't agree with it or can't afford it, they can go plead their case, and the THC would plead their case to this administrative judge, and that might give us a little bit of relief, but that's the only other option that I was able to find that might, and it may not be in our favor, but the administrative judge would look at the evidence and make a ruling. It still may not help us, but it may.
We need to look at it, for sure. It's just ridiculous.
I'm working on finding out what the procedure to do that is. I don't know. And I'm waiting to hear back from one of the attorneys. But that's the only other option or other thing that I could see that we could try to get a little bit of relief. Or if they would let us stretch it out more than just a year. We could commit to do so much a year. But that way we know what we had to budget.
That would cost more in the long run.
Oh, yeah.
Not- If we broke down projects here.
If we go past 60 days, the bids are no good. so-
Right. Well, I mean, if
But,
you try to break down and do step by step, it's gonna be more, because they have to rebid each thing that they're doing.
I mean, I do have some city government clients that their fiscal year falls in the middle of the construction period.
Mhm.
So they just realized that when they get to the next, they'll sign a contract knowing that they need some money from their next fiscal year
Right.
to finish that contract. So I don't know where your fiscal year is but we can certainly work with the contractor so that we know about what he's going to bill on a month-by-month basis. That might help you, fund it
Yeah,
more
it's
easily.
gonna roll over to the next budget year.
Yes.
Okay, how much do we put in the courthouse restoration out of our, each year? How much do we fund that?
Well, we had been putting 100,000 and then we lowered it to, well, we put 500,000 this year because we knew this was coming. But then we lowered it to 75,000 to go to the courthouse remediation fund for 2021.
Look, these numbers are, well, but I'm gonna tell you right now, you're never gonna get it done as cheap as this. The prices are going sky high every day, I know, I'm in the middle of it. If we're gonna do anything other than above the requirement, we need to go ahead and do it. Bite the bullet, spend the money, rebuild our money back. Because you're not gonna, if we don't do it now, then let's get, my experience sitting on this court for 16 years says, that. And we've been broke before, we get back, we can make it work. But the decision this court has to make is whether we're gonna do something or not. You know, if we're gonna try and take it to an administrative judge, that's gonna be time spent we don't have. We're between a rock and a hard place, and that's just kind of where we at. My personal opinion is we need to go ahead and get this done, get it out of the way, or you guys are gonna be living with it for a long time. So that's my take on the matter. Did y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That's all I need to know.
So that 1.4 million in emergency disaster relief, that's just money we built up over time. We don't fund that yearly, is that correct?
We're gonna have to spend money that we've saved. And if we're gonna do anything, I mean, we're gonna have to basically start from scratch again. Whenever we got here, when I got here, we didn't have any fund balance, period. Jackie knows, he watched it from the sidelines then. That's kind of where we at.
That years ago, our whole budget was brand new.
And that's what I think we filed the budget this year. And then, we're gonna have to tighten up. That's all there is to it.
Judge, you got any input?
Not yet.
Stephen, what is the total amount needed to do?
1.4, okay, just the base bid on the low, on the required work on the low bid with the fees added in is 1,430,000, not including the floors.
Okay.
So, and if you subtract that from what we have, we're about $700,000 short, which you could take it out of the emergency disaster relief, but we also have to do the floors before total with too. Out of $100,000, I don't know how much that's gonna cost, but wouldn't want to go too short on it, you know.
How much are the alternatives, excluding number 5?
About 200 and, well, the NNT, it's about 225,000, somewhere, well, I didn't do it per dollar, but it's, about 225,000, not including number 5. 220,000, somewhere along there. But then you gotta add another 15% onto that, 30% onto that.
Which would be about municipality.
And then you have to redo the floors in there too.
We're looking at 1.8 to do the whole thing, somewhere in that range.
Okay, so if you take the low bid and add all the alternate work, plus the 165 for contingency,
Well, it's
165,000.
gonna be more than 165 when you do the whole thing.
Right,
Yeah,
but I'm saying if you just did that, it comes to 1.661.
231,000 for all the alternates is what I had.
right, yeah, that's what I had. Yeah, he had it without all the 5 in there.
So are we adding some more stuff to it? I mean.
No, he wanted to take number 5 out. That's what he was asking, number 5.
Yeah, 1.3, something.
Right.
Just looking at a lot of money. No matter how many slices.
Yes, it is. A lot of money.
After replacing all our windows, right, we have to replace the window bar.
Not just those, but we've got some, like you've got one in the corner of this courtroom that's covered up that's pretty well rotten. So there's some work to do on some of
That's
that.
including that, yes, okay. Is that the base bid? Base bid, okay. Yes, sir.
If we do the base bid and the alternates, we're done with the historical fund subcommission. We don't have to sweat them. And we got a functioning courthouse for the, for a while. Anyway, and we're gonna have to live with this courthouse. And I don't think we have, I know there's some options out there, but I really don't know if we really have them.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
a possible source of funds, we're not authorized to offer anything, nor have we discussed this with anyone other than our two selves. The Historical Commission Foundation has some funds that, as you're well aware, we had devoted to bell tower restoration, and that process got sidetracked, and you refunded those funds to us. We, I think, are willing to approach the commission to see, given the fact that the future of the bell tower is in major limbo.
Right.
Perhaps some of our funds might be offered to offset some of these alternates.
Okay.
And we're willing to ask that question.
Bring it forward. Okay.
So we can't commit by the time you need to vote,
Right.
but that's a possibility that might give you a little wiggle room.
Okay. Thank you.
Now, I'm not thinking that they would go for, covering part of the base bid, but perhaps
The alternate.
the alternates,
Okay.
an alternate or two.
Yes, okay. So Judge, Mr. Bates, this bathroom here, Judge, would this be a public bathroom? Would that be public?
ADA.
The one that's gonna be here, would that be open to the public to use?
I think that you were planning on using it for your employees, that particular one,
Okay.
because it's in that jury room, but, I may be misspeaking about that.
What I recall is that we do not have a handicap bathroom on this floor at this level. The next option that we have, which is not even compliant, is the district attorney's office for a person who comes in at this level. As I recall the conversation, they would have to go to the DA's office at this level. We talked about making that door coming into this space over here wide enough to where handicap could be accessible, and then the door going into that bathroom possibly in the south, I guess it would be the southeast corner of that room space. So it would eliminate the current space that's in there, the bathroom, and move it across the room. But it could be accessible at this level, and it would be handicap compliant.
For the public, right?
Yeah, that's what I recall the conversation. So it wouldn't necessarily be exclusive to employees, unless I didn't understand
So I'm sorry.
the conversation.
And then the restroom, the jury room, not the jury room, where the district courtroom is, for the mechanical thing, that's gonna be a restroom too, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that will be a,
In our discussion on that, that was for use by staff,
Now,
mainly the clerk's office, so they didn't have to use the public restrooms that were out in the corridor.
Now, my understanding was because, again, on that level, because of the space itself on level 2, there was not a current handicap accessible restroom. So having it accessible inside the courtroom, but then yet still from the public space outside, it could be accessible. It just so happened to be that it was adjacent to this space above us as a pass-through that they could go into the courtroom, but then the handicap bathroom could serve as a public handicap restroom on the second floor.
not just for employees.
Correct.
There's a lot of difference in the two prices on those. And there's a lot of difference in the prices on that bathroom than the other two bathrooms. I mean, I know a closet's not that expensive to build, maybe it's time to take out some stuff.
Which number are you looking at?
Well, the alternate number 3,
Number 3, okay.
that's the upstairs, your room, bathroom.
Yeah, there's like 4 bathrooms in that jury room in there. I don't know what all that entails, but I know there's 4 in there right now. I don't know why there's 4, but there is. All the 4 or 5 lined up in a row there.
It's for,
4.
yes, sir.
But that room is basically not open to the public at any time. That's the jury room and attorney room. Go in there. Isn't that correct? See, like, in district court.
That's my understanding.
Yeah, that's what I've seen in the past.
Yeah. And the thought process, I think that we had participated in collectively on this discussion was, in the event that you wind up seating a juror who was handicapped, then that could be a private use space for them when they went into the restroom, but it also would be able to provide for any person who has a need for a restroom. It wouldn't be exclusive. Instead of having 4 small restrooms. Have y'all been up there? See, those are small restrooms. They're narrow. And converting one of them to a janitor closet and then putting the other 2 just in a remodeling position and then put a handicap restroom would still give, of the 12 jurors, if you had that many in there, they could alternate 25% of the time.
Well, I would sure like to see some restrooms available to the public and handicap also, without having to leave the building to go somewhere. Of course, money is money, we don't have the money to do, we're gonna take money out of the emergency fund. We did a couple of bathrooms, that would be another $100,000 over that.
Well, there's $486,000 left from the collection center
Correct.
after we finish the tax office.
Correct.
So that's unencumbered money. So you could say that basically there's $500,000 roughly available. If you look at the emergency disaster relief, they're combined between it and the courthouse restoration, there's 1.667235 if you just utilize the combination of both of those. If the court chose N and T with all of the alternates except item 5, which $9,300, I guess is what that is. That's 222,000 to their 110. And with the 30%, which is the architect fee plus the contingency, that takes you to 1.718 or $1,718,600. So if you take the 486 remaining in the collection center and reduce that, that's going to get us down to a little over maybe 2-something million. I didn't subtract that yet. So I think to Martin's point, it is a disaster. And if Jackie's concern is for our reserves to be preserved at the 3.757 million, which is the amount that's in investment plus that's in cash, then we're not going to tap into that. But use the courthouse restoration money, whatever amount from the emergency disaster relief, and then we could cover it, and that would be at the 1.718 million.
That's not including flooring either, which goes up.
Yeah, and Stephen, it's not a terribly expensive product. We used it in each of the rooms, so to maintain continuity. The provider was up in Huntington at Curiosity, and they come in on the weekend.
Yeah.
They do it whenever, of course, Don had brought up a point where it has to be figured in to a time frame that's compatible with whatever their vendors or providers or craft is working, because they have to do it in a scheduled format. But if we did it ourselves, as opposed to putting it in to the cost, then we could have some savings on that particular portion of it, as I recall the conversation.
Yeah, it's just a fee that we have to pay, or cost that we have to pay. I just want to forget about that cost. Right?
And Stephen, I don't know that, with all of the space based upon the square footage, that we're even going to be 50,000, but I don't know that. But I would be shocked if it is that much.
Also, Commissioner, all the restrooms, those are tile floors. Those are included in our numbers. So we're just talking about this room.
Okay.
We're talking about the room next door. We're talking about the old law library down there. And the new clerk's office upstairs, and that little ante room between the clerk's office and the courtroom.
And which option is the alternate? Is the law library again?
I don't think it's an alternate. I
No.
believe that was a required room.
That's
Stephen.
Oh, okay, that's a requirement. Okay.
And the reason being was, there was nothing done to it other than just the windows are deteriorated, which they have to be replaced anyhow. And it's some cosmetic type of replastering and things like that.
So the alternates include the floor, is that right? That basically pretty much.
The alternates that are restroom.
Okay, alternates that are
Restrooms include the flooring, because it's all tile, all that work has to be done. at
So the
same time.
restrooms would be total cost.
Restrooms are not,
Yeah, we're not having to add anything to that. Okay.
So this room is on the base bid, included in the base bid, or for some reason, I was thinking it was.
everything except the floor in this room. And that's new lighting, new ceilings, redoing all the walls from floor to ceiling. Taking out the covers over the old windows, redoing those things.
Like the space that we didn't have to replace the flooring, it's like the first room we started, everywhere we did that stuff, like Jackie's office over there, we went with that exact same, it's kind of a permanent linoleum, but it's slats, real durable. Every room that we've redone, then that was used in there, so that's not gonna be required to be removed and replaced.
It's anything or the dead solids.
Just marking what I would like to do on the thing. Alternate, don't know how we're ever gonna come up with that. Don't know how we're ever gonna agree to any of that. If we ever could, you know.
You need, I would say, let's do it.
Sir?
I think you'll be facing all this now, if you don't do it now.
Well, I'm not doing some of them. Some of it helps the public, not just cosmetic. Well, I like alternative 1, 2, 4, and then number 8, which is all cosmetic, but it covers up the electrical case.
1, 2, what?
1, 2, 4, and 8 is what I like.
Have the architect explain number 6 again.
Number 6,
Yes,
Doctor, number 6.
change that,
Number 6 is doing away with all the metal and glass doorways that are in this main hallway of the courthouse and going back with the wooden doors and wooden frames like were on the original courthouse.
okay. And how much is that, option 6?
34,000.
34 or 39. One is at 39 and the other one's at 34. And that's the doors in this hallway, correct? Not included, just the
These
courtrooms.
look just like this.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Nothing upstairs.
Nothing upstairs, yes.
Steven, I understand where you're coming from, but when you're looking at 34,000 against 1.6, it's, you know.
So you don't want to do 1, 2, or, no? What are your preferences, Martin?
I'm agreeing with, number 7, I would do number 7 and number 5.
Would not,
I moved 1, 2. And the jury room, you don't want to do the jury room?
well,
Correct?
no, well, it's such an expensive thing, 63,000 on that,
How much is it?
63,000.
Yeah, I can live with not doing that.
Mike, where you at? No,
Well, hold on, I mean, yeah, I really, I prefer not to do any of it.
right.
I do feel like we need to do 1 and 2. We need to have those available for any handicapped people. Number 4, that low bid is not bad. I mean,
Right, that's not what it's called.
And like you said on the electrical, so I guess 1, 2. Yeah, same 1, 2, 4, and 8.
Could I ask a question
Yes,
to our
yes,
architect?
yes, ma'am.
Louise,
Mr. Levy?
Mrs. Louise.
If they omit some of the alternative options, and if our group wanted to adopt those, if we made a decision within the 60 days,
Could you add that on?
Yes, but we just do a change order for whatever amount.
Whatever they decide to do,
Right.
they would just, like they did, just move the money to the county and we would roll that.
Very,
Also,
very,
court
very
agreed to it.
easily. I'll tell the contractor that that's in the works, and he would probably hold this price for a little longer than 60 days, so.
Well, I'm not offering anything.
You're looking for information, is that
Well,
right?
I'm just looking for how we can be helpful.
Right.
You know, we're interested in seeing
Appreciate
the
it.
project completed. And I believe I can say in concurrence with Commissioner Nash's strong statement, the sooner we do it, the less it costs.
Oh,
And you guys, then, you don't have to worry about it anymore. Not to mention, we can go on to other things.
Hey, Martin,
Yes, ma'am.
which alternates were you for doing?
I would like to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8. I wouldn't do 7. And I could give up 3. I mean, I would be good enough to do 3. So I'd say 1, 2, 4, 6, and 8.
Okay.
I think if you'll cover the electrical stuff, you would regret that.
if we don't do it, is that right?
Yeah, I think we don't cover that mess up. It does, I mean, we got to make it look decent anyway, no matter what we,
Especially if you're on trial, especially if you're on trial, if you're on the jury stand, on the witness stand, you want it pretty behind you.
I do.
Oh, yeah. Might be the last thing you see.
On number 3, that's basically just adding, bathrooms for the jury room in the closet for the, janitor, correct?
Well, they have bathrooms in there, we'll be changing one of them to a handicap. There's 4 bathrooms in there now. They would be changing one of them, or 2 of them to 1 handicap.
But there is a handicap bathroom upstairs. There would be, number 2 would be a handicap bathroom upstairs. So
Correct,
the jury would have access to a handicap bathroom.
correct.
Okay. They just have to be escorted out, escorted back. That's correct?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I can do away with 3. That's $63,000 you can say.
Mr. Strong,
That's probably half of my $4,000 goal.
on number 3,
Yes.
can they consider, at least doing the janitor's closet only out of that alternate? The janitors do not have any janitor's closet on the second floor, so they're hauling mop buckets and things to the second floor, so
What money would that be, do you know?
we'll just have,
Could that
we'll
look
just
at?
have to ask the contractor about it, and that could be done as a change
Change
order
order,
down the
okay,
road, yes,
got
sir.
it.
If it-
That sounds reasonable.
if it can be done about the same as the alternate floor janitor closet.
Probably somewhere
On the
close to
second
that.
bed, not the top one, that's $20,000.
We don't have to have any real special plumbing work there. The plumbing is there. We just have to reroute it to the new janitor sink and enclose that area so they have a little storage space for their supplies. So I wouldn't think that that would be very much, but I'll ask and we can always do that as a change order.
Good. Any input?
It just looks like that if we go with the N&T, take the remaining amount of money out of collection center, which is $486,250, deduct that from the 1.718, that takes us to 1.232. Take out of the courthouse restoration fund the $254,000. That takes us down to $978,216. Take that out of the 1.413 million emergency disaster, and that leaves us remaining in emergency disaster $413,101. In the event, and if I am correct, it looks like that we have budgeted for a $1.8 million in that account for 2021. So it looks like that we'll still be strong enough with that monies in emergency disaster relief. And if we had any kind of an interruption, we could fall back upon our reserve and pull from it, because we're about 3 months, right at 4 months with what we have right now as far as in reserve. And the ideal is to have a minimum of 3 months. So we could do this, and with those deletions of those, or those modifications, like Mike is referencing on that janitor closet cost, we could do this. And if the additional things that we're taking off the table, if those are projects that are supported by the local historical commission, then we could explore those.
Right.
But we're covering all of the core components of what I think has been spoken about to get this thing behind us, to get it useful, and to do it now, without it absolutely killing us. It'll amputate some significant parts, but it won't kill us. And that's my comments.
I think those are very good comments. I like it.
Mr. Leach, it says on the N&T that 210 calendar days, is that including the alternative, or is that just the base? Is that everything?
That's everything.
Everything, okay. So that falls within the time period of,
Yes, sir. And it's got a little breathing room.
right.
210 days, you'll get them to take your mask off and breathe it in.
Right.
We hope.
You can take your mask off and go get reported.
I hope so.
Yeah. Any other, we good?
Bud, did you have any alternates? What were your thoughts on the alternates? Because I didn't hear from you.
Well, I heard every word y'all said. And it all sounded great. I just I don't really have a whole lot to say today.
How you feeling today?
Not so great.
Okay.
I feel better, but I'm just really, really tired.
So John, the what you were figuring, is it the 1, 2, 4, and 8 alternates, or is there another one?
It's the 1, 2, 4, 6, and 8.
That's.
I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry. It's not the 6. No, let me take this back. It's everything that was in the N and T line. So it's gonna be less than that. But with that amount less than that, that's gonna cover for our flooring.
Oh, but go, which alternate 3 or not, we're leaving that out, that's the,
Right, I think that was,
just doing it all in there.
Yeah. That would cover the flooring for what we're not doing in the jury room with all of the additional, but it would cover for the janitor's closet. And we've taken 5 off of the tab, anyway, so it's out. And we've taken, 7 out.
So it's 1, 2, 4, and 8, is that right?
It's 1, 2, 4, and 8, correct. But what I did, Jackie, I took
I
that,
thought we had 6 in there.
You did.
that may be a project that the local historical commission may choose to adopt, Martin. And that would be a $34,000 contribution.
It'd be a lot prettier, I know that. The doors work now, but they're pretty utilitarian. They do serve their function of closing the room off. All right.
1, 2, 4,
Can I,
7,
Yes, sir.
8,
I'm sure y'all are saying the tax office is gonna be $320,000. There have been a couple of change orders down there as far as there may be a little extra added to that. We did have a pretty severe roof leak the other day in the driver's license office. And, they were looking at trying to take care of that for sure. You don't want to redo that office and still be raining in there. So, I do have a firm date of the 19th of October that we can probably move them back in. And, I just wanted y'all to be aware that 320 might not be exactly what that is, so.
Well, compared to 1.8, it's not gonna be much off.
Well, we can take that from the contingency if need be.
Right. But that's progressing very well down there, so it all should be coming together.
All right, anything else? Judge, you want to close this out?
Yep, there's nothing further than a motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, aye?
Just check this out.
This conference is no longer being recorded.